Hello. Now, this week's month's episode is going to be a bit fiddly because we're trying a new way, and I've got to get my co-host in. Oh dear. Let's get rid of that. Yes, here we go. Don't share that. Right. Hello. Ah, Michael, really? This needs to be much. We don't have to talk.
You
Hello.
went for background.
No, do you know what it was automatically it was from a previous call that I was on.
Sure, sure.
Sorry about that. We had a whole chat before where we were talking about having backgrounds. You can have a little go, fiddle around, put something in.
I tried. It looked weird.
Okay. Does this look weird?
It
It
looked
looks
weird.
quite good. See, it looks quite good. It's a good background,
I
isn't
need
it?
to pay for the plus maybe and get a whole host of ones. I
You
don't know.
you can just download
How's the mic test?
one, two, three. I'm here. Mike,
Testing. This
Mike.
is what we do, guys.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the intro. So
We're
apologies,
never happy with the
viewers.
intro.
No, I'm a perfectionist. Oh, can you hear the background noise? Although our viewers, all six or seven subscribers of them, will be used to it if they've watched any previous.
The attitude.
Huh?
6 or 7 will grow.
We've actually got 14 views. I was having a look at the numbers before. Um, anyway, that's enough. Let's get into let's get in. I realized it's actually 8 months or 8 or 9 months since we last did one of these
No,
episodes.
no. I will give you 4 months.
No, so
Even though I know it was around the time Trump got elected.
but we didn't pub so we've okay for the viewers, we've done a couple of recordings, but we had some technical difficulties with them. So we have shot another episode, but we haven't we there was a malfunction with the
It
sound.
would be in mime.
Yeah. Maybe we said this last time actually. Maybe we'll publish it and we'll do a dub where
Yeah.
we're saying something really.
Perfect.
Thank you.
2.
Excellent. All right, so I asked Chat GPT to
Were
help.
you going to say it wrong?
Yeah, I always say
Were
chat.
you going to say CPT?
I always say BT,
GPP?
GBT.
Yeah.
Why?
They shouldn't really pick those letters. Chat AI or something would have been better, unless someone had it.
Yeah, other AI tools and platforms are available. DeepSeek,
They are.
Proximity.
My friend works for the BBC, has to offer other examples. He grew up watching Blue Peter.
Where's my badge? Right.
Other platforms are available.
Yeah. Uh,
Right, my lefty loving friend. Let's do it.
Lefty lovey. I prefer. All right, we'll get into
You
that.
are. I said love.
I do love. I do love. I've got a lot of love in me. So, yeah, it's been a while. Last time, our actual last official episode was covering the London riots, and quite a lot has happened since then. But before we get into that, why don't
Oh.
we introduce
Hmm.
and reintroduce ourselves? So, I'm Michael. Oh, full name, Michael McConaughey here. Uh, uh,
I'm Gary. How you doing?
and we've known each other quite a while now. And I won't spend too long on this because we've done this intro before, and it probably gets a little bit boring for people. But we're good mates,
Well,
but we have very different political views. Yeah,
yeah.
we've managed to. And actually, can I share this? Can I share this with the group? We had a little chat before, and I'm doing it anyway. By the way, Gary's only ever been really annoyed with me once.
Ah, you do like, you're giving people a little look into my psyche now.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, that's enough. It's a very interesting
No,
place.
no, go on, you can say it if you remember it, or I can say it.
No, I do remember it, and it's I love
Some people will understand, the people who should understand.
yeah, and we've been friends for a very long time, like decades.
Decades.
Oh, um, but yeah, he was showing me a clip on YouTube, and it was from oh, it's
The other guys.
the other guys, and he was really annoyed with me because he was sharing a really funny scene, a really funny clip. I've only seen the other guys once, so I probably need to watch it a couple more times. But I wasn't giving it the due attention that it deserved. Here's my best mate showing me something that's super funny, he finds really interesting, and I would, instead of appreciating the clip itself, I said, why are they talking about being a bee?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've seen the clip,
Oh,
you know. I know it hurt.
sorry. Sorry, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. A lot of feelings there, mate. That's fine. That's fine. It happens. I suppose. It's only happened once to me, so it's all right.
It's all right,
Can live with that.
he's over it. Okay, so um, yeah, the premise of the podcast, the episode, the YouTube channel is that we are talking to you as just mates about political things. We're both interested in politics, have been for a number of years, but have
Yeah.
a very different view on things. Gary sits on the far right side of the fence.
Ah, there it is. Sorry, Starmer, what? Far right?
Yeah,
No, no right anymore, is it? Just far right. Yeah.
and I'm a lefty.
Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
I'm a lefty loving woke hippie.
Mate, I don't make the rules.
But yeah, so we said the London riots were the last topic that we covered, but quite a lot has happened since, and particularly over the other side of the pond. And we did a special
First 100
episode.
days.
Yeah. Why don't we just jump into that? That's a great place to start. So, as a Trump and Musk fanboy, that's you.
Hey, again, I'm not a Muscat fanboy. I just don't seem to see the things that everyone else goes, oh my God, how could you?
Yeah,
I'm not a fanboy.
like the mass.
Definitely not with Musk. Definitely not with Musk.
Good, good. Well, that's why we're still friends.
Greatest African American that's ever lived.
Don't trigger me.
It's a fact. It's a
That
fact, mate. Where's
no.
he born?
Well, he's born in South Africa, but he's not the great
Oh,
African. The greatest African ever lived is Nelson Mandela.
okay.
Like, but there's
That's got nothing. That's got nothing to do with America, though.
no
I
agreed. So
said African American.
okay, okay. Let's
I wasn't talking about Africa. I'm talking about African Americans because black people in America are described as African American because of their heritage, which is where Musk comes from. So, okay, he's the most successful African American of all time,
well, it depends on how you define success. I think like getting better.
monetarily.
Yeah,
Lefties, I know. Sorry, mate. I know if lefties have got to really narrow it down. He's the most successful in monetary terms African American of all times.
look, when you're given billions and billions of dollars in government grants, it's quite easy to be successful in that way. Like I don't think
Other people
most
are. They're not. They're not the richest, are they? They don't make successful companies just because they get grants.
yeah, but that's exactly how he has made success of all of his business. He
Well,
didn't.
that's how he's made more. He's made more success. He only got those contracts because he's so successful. You don't get approached unless you're already at the top.
Well,
They're gonna go, well, here's an up and comer. No, you're already up there, and then they go, hello, mate, do you want some contracts? Yeah, boom.
I think it depends on the circle that you keep. So if you've got friends in the right circles, you can get the right introductions and you can get the right grants. We all know that's how it works.
And be really smart, do well in uni, get good grades, and work hard. They help.
Okay.
I
You,
wouldn't say he's a stupid person.
I didn't say he was a stupid person, but as
No,
a
I said I wouldn't say. I didn't say you said he was. I just said I wouldn't say he's a stupid person.
as
That was
somebody
all.
as somebody who said at the start they're not a Musk fanboy, you're defending him like
No, because fanboy is fanboy. Like I've got posters, or that's all I talk about, and everything else comes back to those two. That's fanboy. Absolute love.
all
I
right.
just don't hate them.
All right, let's get into Trump. What's Trump actually achieved in his first 100 days of power?
What hasn't he achieved?
No,
He's
uh,
got people. Okay, what he's achieved is getting everyone in line in certain respects. It's hard to do that with China because they can come back with stuff. But he's got people doing that, and stock markets, as usual, just have their little wobbles. I mean, what if they just didn't wobble? Why does trillions have to be wiped off stuff just because some people think, oh, it's not bad? Yeah, oh, this is going to be bad. Well, it might not be. And year in, year out, they do it with, like I've said on this channel before. Oh no, Apple aren't going to sell that many phones. Let's just wipe 400 million off them. Why? Oh, actually, the things that come through, they've sold more. Sorry about that. And they do it with the tariffs. It can be a bad thing when it's said, but it's said for a reason. Because, like, you're not just having a free ride, come negotiate. And then there's people lining up to go, oh, yeah, yeah, we want to negotiate. Things settle down. But it's the stock markets, as usual, that the ones that mess up most things, by the way. Every great recession has been because of the stock market, people, Wall Street, London Stock Exchange, etc. Because they have a little wobble. So it doesn't matter if someone big wobbles, it's when they wobble because they think something's going to happen. So I
Yeah,
think he's done the tariffs, got everyone in line. China's had a fight back because they can. Why wouldn't you? If you can fight, fight. The rest of the people have done the usual moans on camera so that the lefties and stuff can get excited. And now they've come around. Everything's quieting down, and people are asking for trade deals, which is exactly what he wanted people to do.
yeah. I mean, the American economy is not in the best shape, but I think that's intentional. I think that's on purpose. I think that's part of Trump and
Mm.
his gang's plans. I wanted to try and introduce some more fact checking, so I'm using some AI tools that we mentioned. I
It's
want,
needed.
want to try and have some balance in here. So the question I asked you is, what has he achieved? So I asked Chat GPT, what has Trump achieved in the first 100 days? And it says immigration and border security. There seems to have been a sharp decline in illegal crossings, which I think is true. The
Boom.
administration
Perfect.
reports a 95% reduction in illegal border crossings.
Sorry. 95.
Yeah, it's significant.
Oh,
It's significant.
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm trying to be balanced
You
here.
said no, sorry, you said illegal, right?
Yeah, illegal
Just
border.
checking.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the word illegal. That's okay.
Um, legislative action, easy for me to say. The latest Riley Act was signed into law, mandating the detention of certain immigrants charged with crimes. Uh,
Huh?
Now, law and order is very good normally for a company. Well, America is a company in its own right, a corporation, but it does provide stability for a country and should help their
Yeah.
population have a little bit more certainty, although that hasn't been reflected in the trade wars and the economy. But he's also had
Mm,
deportations and arrests. So over 135,000 undocumented immigrants have been deported, and more than 151,000 arrests have been made in connection with immigrant enforcement. I will just sense check that the two sources of this information are the White House, and I have seen some reports where the White House is being a bit fast and loose with its facts. So I haven't verified this
right.
information. That what I've noticed in the time that he's been in term is that there's been quite a bit of a genderizing of the information that the White House is sharing. So
Mm,
there there are some discrepancies around the facts and the truth. I think there is no doubt that he's had an impact on immigration and border security.
yeah.
There are some concerns.
Charity groups have spoken about it, haven't they? So,
I think there are some genuine concerns from the left, or there should be some concerns from everybody that he's been rounding up some of his enemies, and I'm sure we'll get to Dodge or Doge and Musk's impact in part of this discussion. Um, but there has been some questions. There was, and I can't remember the specific person's name, but there was somebody who's unfairly extricated.
oh, the MS-13 gang member, because the
Oh,
one who
but
got tats on his hands,
yeah,
him, the
yeah.
wife beater.
He was sent to El Salvador. Now that there's also been quite a lot of controversy in the States about about the judges being arrested and not enforcing these new policies that
Mm.
Trump and his White House team have wanted. I think I think it should be from everybody's perspective that it's quite scary when you have somebody coming in like Trump who is then suddenly changing the rules so significantly and seemingly just deporting without due legal mandate anybody that they want. They're just rounding up those people. And I think we'll see a lot more information come out in the next couple of months or years about some of the people that they have deported and arrested and got out of the country without following due
Mm.
legal process. He seems to be ripping up the rule book when it comes to stuff like this. So, um,
Yeah, but I think sometimes when someone says to do something and you get a judge on many occasions where they just personally don't like it, so they then put a block in. So they're just, it doesn't seem fair when they get all the power. One, people think, oh, someone he's got all the power, but then it's like, well, no, a judge could have all the power because they could just stop anything and then drag it out, like the Court of Human Rights, European Court of Human Rights does over this side of the pond. So if you're overriding a judge, it's only because a lot of the time judges override other people. It's like they get to do whatever they want. And it's like, oh, judge, you said the word judge, so they must be true, fair, and it's like, no, they should be held to account as well. They can't just stop something just because they don't like it and then wait around. Because that's what these people who they're trying to deport in the first place are hoping for. That you stop everything, everyone argues, and then the person that shouldn't be here in the first place is still here. So let's see if they're so rightfully supposed to be in a certain place, then if they're in El Salvador and they weren't supposed to be there, then they'll be able to come back, won't they? But
but
they know they're not, so they don't like that. They want to fight it on the place that they're not even supposed to be in the first place.
but not necessarily. And from what I understand, and again, well, I don't understand the ins and outs of it. I don't understand the American legal system or the judiciary. But from what I have read,
No.
he hasn't followed process and the extrication of that. What's the guy's name?
Hmm.
So El Salvador, the one that he's deported,
I don't know the name of the specific person that seems to be the focal point. The
wasn't
one with the tats on his hands.
wasn't followed. They didn't follow due process and they haven't done that in the right way. He was illegally deported. Now you could
Right.
argue whether and I don't think you can see I'm woefully out of my depth when I'm talking about the American legal system and how it works.
Yeah,
So
but that's only right because we don't know it.
um but yeah, from everything that I've read and understand, and there's a genuine fear, I think, from some of my American friends or colleagues that he's sort of doing he's acting like a dictator. Let's call it what it is in lots of ways. And I think I can see the little
Right.
smirk on your face that you'd
No,
like.
it's fine because people are going to say that. But you have to remember what an actual dictator is. There is no comeback. If an actual dictator, like people think of the word dictator, which again has got lost, like actually and literally, a word is just an expert opinion. All these things have just been abolished over the years because they're abused so much. An actual dictator, anyone says anything against them, they're rounded up. So when CNN broadcasts something, CNN would be shut down, everyone would be arrested and never seen of again. That's how dictators work.
This is okay.
You
So
don't have someone speaking against you, but in America, you are allowed to speak against something.
except the Associated Press, who he banned from the White House briefings because he didn't
Yeah,
like
from the
what they
briefings.
said.
He's not banning them from reporting.
Well,
He's banning them from a certain room.
that's restricting access to information, and it's
Right,
unprecedented.
because they can get their information from what he's saying.
But they're not. They are restricting access, direct access, and stopping them from asking questions in the White House briefing. So that is,
Okay, that's modern dictatorship. Okay.
but it is. It's
Mo
specific.
modern, okay, modern dictatorship doesn't seem that bad to me.
But then where does it stop, though? The and
Exactly, because now we're acting like the stock market people, aren't we? Where, what could possibly be? And then when they say stuff, it affects everything. But that's where do you stop? What could be?
I
It's
do,
like, oh, you could get hit by a bus. Ridiculous thing that people always say.
but I think
Why worry about it? You could be hit by a bus tomorrow.
the
So
concern
let's
is
not live at all then.
that you've got people who have observed some of the patterns and the trends and said that this is something Trump might do. Now he's doing it. So we've
Mm.
said it before, and somebody like you or you will have said, "Oh, but you're just saying he might do it." Now he's actually doing it. He's also
Yeah.
suggested that he might run for a third term. So,
I said about trying one for some. There's stuff you have to put in place first. Because presidents have done it before. There has been president that's had 3 terms, and then they changed the legislation, didn't it? So if you change something, it could be changed back. So it'd have to be changed first. He wouldn't just run for 3 terms and just nothing. So
he
it'd have
did,
to be voted on, wouldn't it?
but okay,
Legislation would have to be changed because it got changed before. That's why there's only 2 terms.
yeah, and the way they do it is by being in a war situation, if I'm right. That was the situation. They changed legislation, they put in emergency measures because they were at war. So I wouldn't watch this space. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some form of civil war or America is engaged in some conflict that conveniently allows him to change legislation to serve a third term. At that point, would you acknowledge that that is dictatorish behavior?
Not if the legislation's changed. Staying on and having the military try and drag you out of the White House, that would be dictatorship, where you don't accept something like all the African warlords don't.
But like when he
But
didn't,
if legislation is changed, because all you're going to argue about is how it was changed. But
okay,
if it was actually changed, then he wouldn't be doing anything illegal, would he?
a bit like how he didn't accept the results of the previous election.
Yeah. He still wasn't president at that time, was he? So he might not have accepted it. So what? What happened? Biden wasn't president. Is that what happened?
No, but he
Nothing. Biden
applied
was president for 4 years. So it's just someone shouting on camera. They didn't like something.
okay. So what else? So what else has he achieved?
Oh, we're good. It's only 100 days. What's that? Just over 3 months. So it's immigration is the biggest thing so far.
Yeah, I'm going to share. I'm going to read off a couple of other things. So those were, you could say, positive. Don't know why I'm doing the inverted bunny ears, but you could say they were positive things. He's also put in place a number of economic measures. I want to save the Doge stuff because I think it's wild. Um, but
Yeah.
again, the White House say that job creation, approximately 345,000 jobs have been added. Funny that that comes directly from the White House. They've
Well, who are
regu
you supposed to get the sort? What is the sources then?
well, the Associated Press would be a very good and reputable source because it's an unbiased
Yeah,
news.
but where are they getting their information from? There must be someone that who's it you trust? If it's like national statistics or the whatever, that's what I mean. You're saying, oh, it's coming from the White House, like it's coming from 10 Downing Street. But then who is the person like, oh, unless this person says it, they're the only one we want to believe. That's all I'm asking. It's just, it's coming from the White House, yeah, but
I,
they
I
can only bend stuff so much because it'll be pointed out, wouldn't it?
I would genuinely that having worked in a news agency in the
Hmm.
UK, the Press Association, news agencies themselves are very good in the way they present information. They tend to do it factually. They check the
Journalists are loved.
Okay, but all right. So hold on. Let me. I'm just going to take this opportunity in this segue to say journalists are vilified often by people who don't agree. But there is a
Or
difference
by their own actions.
sometimes. But there is a difference between news agencies who are they employ lots of journalists. They fact check. They specialize in identifying and sourcing information, breaking news stories, and verifying it through a number of different sources who then supply media organizations with that information. It allows them to report unbiasedly. Then what happens is a media organization like the Times or the Telegraph or the Guardian, all of them, you've got left and right views there, will take that content from the news agency and then put their own spin on it. and they'll put their own commentary and slant. And the Associated Press are a news agency who will provide information in an unbiased way, as will the Press Association and many other organizations across Europe. Then you've got the likes of Fox and ABC and the Washington Post and all of these. The challenge that we have in the industry, or we have in sourcing our news, is a lot of these organizations are owned by billionaires or millionaires who have a clear agenda in terms of what they're publishing.
Hmm.
Rupert Murdoch's, and there's a little thumb thing, what Rupert Murdoch's organizations do. And if you've ever watched Succession, excellent program by.
Yeah, but just on that quickly, just because you mentioned Rupert Murdoch, the difference between Sky UK, who have gone so far left I can't even see them anymore, versus Sky Australia,
They haven't.
are they could be wrong, are they not still owned by the same person?
Yeah, but I
Yeah, but they're
disagree.
not reporting how Sky Australia reports.
No, because he has a different because he has a different, sorry, he has a different political agenda in that in that country. And actually it's a really good point. And I think this is something hopefully our viewers find interesting. This is obviously just my opinion. So and I allegedly, I should say allegedly somewhere, right? But if you look at the politics in the UK, at the moment, we've got a Labour government in the UK, right? Yeah, good face. Although, again, I've said before, I think Starmer is a Tory in a red tie. I don't think,
Only to the left he is.
but he is very much more of a centre Labour politician in terms of his political views and his manoeuvrings.
Yeah, he's not a Corbynite.
He's not Corbynite at all, and we can talk about what happened with Corbyn later, I'm sure. But Rupert Murdoch had played a role in helping Starmer get elected. So naturally, his political view, because it's beneficial for him to support the government that he's helped elect, is going to be more left leaning. But in the Australia, he's still got the Conservative government there, so they're going to be reflecting those views. I think that's actually a perfect example because Rupert Murdoch doesn't actually give an F about whether he's not
No,
left.
but
He's only
that's
interested.
right. But Sky News has never changed in Australia, where it's changed here, and Australia's had different governments over time.
But
So
I would suggest that there's a couple of factors to that. One, it supports his own political agenda to have that discourse. I don't understand the media landscape enough in Australia to understand
no, same.
whether there's the opportunity to be a bit more left. Maybe there are other organizations that hold that ground and it's not in his
Yeah.
interest to cover it. So I think there are some nuances to the way that the media is presented. But what's really important for people, and hopefully they get something from this episode or what we're saying, it's really important to
Mm.
investigate the source of the material that you're reading and understand where it's coming from and think about who has an influence on the agenda. Um, it's up to everybody to educate themselves. Otherwise, we end up in the mess that we are. We're in a mess. Not enough people are engaged politically. People are easily dismissing genuine information. It's too easy to distort the public view because the
Yeah, that's what we spoke about before, isn't it? It's
people that
gone to it's got to a point now where it's just, well, they would say that, and well, of course they're going to say that, and that's where it is. I don't how see at the moment where it's going to go from there.
what's the answer?
Like you said, if the Associated Press are just literally in effect sending a CCTV with audio recording of an incident, and then various agencies or various companies report that how they wish, then what are you supposed to do? If they're only sending with no agenda whatsoever, like you said, and then people report it how they want,
Yeah,
the Express versus the Guardian, for example,
that's
then
exactly
nothing's gonna change, is it? Because the Guardian's only ever gonna see what it wants to see.
that
So
That's exactly what happens. And there are some organizations or some platforms that are trying to do something different. But what you have, and I think it's perfectly demonstrated in the White House and the example that I gave around AP, the Associated Press not being allowed in the briefing, is
Hmm.
the government, they restrict access. And without access to information, you can't hold people to account. And then because they
No.
are out of the loop, so you're having to report vicariously. It's just been flagged, and this is probably a good thing for our viewers and ourselves that we're running out of time. I think we've got 5 minutes left on this, uh,
Right.
but
It's all right.
it's
It's
good.
could be some eyebrow moments. It's been all right.
Yeah, I think hopefully the viewers have got something from this, and I think it took a little while to warm up. And apologies for not having the right factual
Yeah,
information.
but 8 months out is expected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas the next time we'll have a clipboard with bullet points and it'll be all right.
Okay, good. I like
Anything
that.
else you want to cover quickly?
Just thinking, what do you want to cover?
For 5 minutes, you can't really do it because anything anyone says, you or me, it's just gonna be, oh, and then it'll just end. I like to say men shouldn't be in women's sports, and finally, after 4 or 5 years, government seems to be waking up to that fact that men shouldn't compete against women. It's just not fair.
Yeah, I, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with you on
It's
that.
just simple biology. Men have more muscles, so it's just a fact.
No, I actually agree with you on that point, and I think I will voice some concerns about the way that it's handled, or there are some people who are genuinely and again, I'm a bit out of my depth in talking about this thing because I'm not as knowledgeable about it, but there are some people who identify as another gender. And I think, and that's okay. And I don't think there should be a stigma attached to it. But I agree they shouldn't be competing in sports because that becomes dangerous.
Ah, but those people are not even going out on a limb. They wouldn't have had penis and balls removed. They just wouldn't. They're so want to be, but they still keep that. So just if it's people that actually got rid of that and they really, that's it, that's how they think, that's how they feel, they identify, then that's fine. But they never seem to. They all seem to have those two things still attached.
Okay, so is that
How
the
dedicated are you?
is that the way you do it? If you've had your cock and balls chopped off, you can play.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, not in sports, no. Because if you've gone past puberty, you've already still got your muscle mass.
All right, but then okay,
I'm
but
just talking about your right to use a woman's toilet and stuff like that.
yeah, okay,
Not
yeah.
sports.
All right, there.
Past puberty, you've already got the muscle. It doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah, if you've had your that's the ruling. That's if you've had your cock and balls chopped off, you can use the women's
Right.
toilets.
You heard it here first.
All right, there we go. That should we start a petition for that? Is that I don't
Why
actually
not?
know what the ruling is. Well, I don't think that's been
Of course,
allowed.
it's got nothing to do with it because they're en masse. They don't get rid of it, and it's always overwhelmingly men doing this. It's not women trying to be in a men's toilet, is it?
No, have you seen the men's toilets? You wouldn't want to be in a men's toilet anyway.
So,
I've actually got a funny story about that, but maybe I'll save it for the next episode because we've only got a couple of minutes left. But
I've got a
no, that's
couple of
quite good.
minutes.
It's a good teaser. So if you want to hear my funny story, which I will if Gary reminds me, I'll share it in our next episode.
Well, definitely. We'll put it in our notes.
All right, it's in the notes.
Right, you. I'm a little
Yeah,
bit jealous of your background. I'm going to have that next time, I think.
all right, we're
Is
gonna.
that Blur or is that Office or what?
It's an office. It's a blurred office. It's my office.
No, but
Um,
it's fine. As long as you don't move too much, it looks really good.
all right. Well, let's try and wrap it up. So we're gonna cut off
Yeah,
in any minute now, but I'll invite anybody who's watching it and actually gets to the end. Thank you. Feel free to hit the subscribe, follow, like, share, and
yeah, please. Thank you.
put your thoughts in the
Very
comments.
appreciated.
Engagement's really good. We are going to try and do this a bit more consistently now. So,
Yeah,
um,
none of this 8 months nonsense. Yep.
yeah,
Can't believe it's 8 months.
give us some feedback, and we will see you in the next week, month, or through the window.
Okay. I'll have to Google that one.
It's
Or Bing.
yeah. All right. I've been Michael.
I've been Gary.
See you later.
Take care.